What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA show. We are back in the mix. It is Monday, February 9th. We just had a interesting fight night that went down. We've got a really fun card coming up. Yo, what's up, Justin? We got a really fun card coming up this weekend. Well, a really fun main event, let's put it that way. We got Justin's teammate, Sean Strickland, going up against Fluffy Hernandez. So we're going to break that down. We're going to break down a couple other topics today. We got some news items that we definitely want to discuss as well. And we're going to chop it all up here as soon as Justin is right about to join us, just getting situated, but he's back in that home situation, that home studio. And here comes Justin.
Give me one second. I didn't realize that my speakers weren't hooked up to my computer.
All right, I'll let you go do your thing. So we will let people kind of make their way in right now. Justin, just FYI, I got you on mute until you're ready to go. So just let me know, and then we'll get you back in here. And also, not to mention, in other fun news, Justin and I are going to be doing another commentary show for Fusion Fight League. That's coming up on March 7th. So just under a month away. So that's going to be really, really fun. Looking forward to that. Actually got to chat with some of the fighters already, so I'm very much looking forward to that card. And in other news too, something that's not on the topic list, but we actually have Gable Steveson performing in about a week and a half, which is pretty cool. Now, I don't know if I told you this, Justin. I got to talk to Braden Peterson over the weekend. So Braden actually fought Gable Steveson a few months ago. And he was telling me, number one, he's like, hey, man, I'm feeling pretty proud that of all Gable Stevenson's opponents, I went the longest. So I thought that was pretty cool that Braden, he said, and he also said, by the way, he said he met John Jones. He said, he's training with Plinio Cruz now. You know who that guy is? He's Alex Pereira's coach.
Oh, really? John is?
Yeah. He's going to be cornering him. So he said he had a lot of great things that came out of fighting Gable Steveson. But he also said, he's like, Gable Steveson was insane. He's like, his power and his speed was like in complete bonkers. So that was a really fun conversation. Anyways, Western says, what's up? What's up, Western? All right. Well, guys, we got some fun topics, some fun newsworthy topics that we want to chat about. Also, check out the series that I posted over the weekend about the Guru versus Ariel Helwani back and forth. So those are getting a decent amount of views if you want to check those out. It's kind of like a 3-part series. But anyways, let's get into the mix. Now, topic number one, and Justin, I wanted to get your thoughts on this as a fellow fighter, as a fellow professional athlete. So a couple things that come out about Paddy Pimblett since his last fight against Justin Gaethje. Number one, Paddy Pimblett has blown back up and is looking huge in photos. So he immediately went on a bender and just a food bender, that is, and just immediately went back and ballooned up to that look that we're also familiar with the bloated face and whatever. So that's number one. The second thing is footage has come out from Paddy in the locker room prior to the fight. And right before he walked out, they showed him on camera eating a turkey sandwich, a cookie, and an entire pack of Sour Patch Kids, a full bag of Sour Patch Kids. This is right before he went to do the walkout. And he was even eating the Sour Patch Kids while he was talking to the referee in the back. I wanted to hear your thoughts as a professional athlete, somebody who's had 80 fights, 50 amateur fights, 30 professional fights. Like, what's your thoughts? Because a lot of people are having very negative reactions. They're saying, this is why Paddy lost. This is why he gassed. This is why he looked terrible. He's disrespectful to the sport. He doesn't take it seriously. Like, people are really, really pissed off. So I want to know your thoughts, having walked the walk, having had multiple fights. What is your opinion on this type of a pre-fight protocol?
I mean, it sounds pretty consistent with what we talked about before the fight. I mean, we talked about breadcrumbs. I mean, he's at the most pivotal and most important, point of his life, and he can't keep it together during a warm-up. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he's stressed, and maybe food is his stressor, and he eats, candy. He eats those Sour Patch Kids because he's stressed, and it comforts him, possibly. I mean, I've heard of things like that, but I mean, these are those things, man. Martin Kampman was big because the thing I adored about Martin Kampman, the things he taught me, like he cornered me in one of my fights, and I weigh in, I make weight, and I want to go out and I want to eat pizza. And he's like, hey, man, the fight's not over yet. Like, just because the weigh-in's over yet doesn't mean you got to keep, because during your whole fight camp, you don't cheat in between practices. So your body gets accustomed to having good calories and good energy source. And then you make weight and you go on a bender and you eat, for me, mine was Italian food. I just love just killing Italian food. And to an extent, having like spaghetti or something could be can be beneficial, but you don't want to overeat it. Or like one of my go-tos was like Alfredo, and it's like all the oil and fats in those. It's just going to slow you down, and it just tells you he's not doing things right.
By the way, Justin, by the way, check the mic. I don't think your mic is logged into what's it called, StreamYard. So just check the mic setting because it sounds a little echoey. It might be your computer mic again.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right.
So there we go. There we go. Okay, so just how bad of a mistake is it, right? You're talking about these other foods, Italian food, Alfredo, and maybe having some pastas, all right. But like, how big of a screw up is this to be doing stuff like that when you're fighting for a belt? Because that's why I want to ask you, like, can you put it in perspective? How bad of a mess up is something like this?
I mean, it's not the biggest thing you could do or the worst thing you can do, because he's probably doing this while he's in between training sessions too. So it's not. I'm not going to say that he's totally unaccustomed to eating bad food during his fight camp. So I mean, it's a mistake. But again, we talk about breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs aren't big, but you spill enough of them. Now you have a whole mess in front of you, and unfortunately, that's just what he does when it comes to food.
The other thing that it makes me think of too, because I just try to look at this from whatever lens I have, from my own life perspective or whatever. And it's, to me, I feel like we'll never see Paddy as champ at this point. I was real high on Paddy at first. And I mean, I love to see him fight and I want to see him fight again. But at this point, you go to the pinnacle, you have a title shot, you're doing all these things, and then it doesn't go your way. And instead of like guys like Merab, who has a fight, he wins, and then he's out running the next morning. He's like ultra professional. Or other guys who just never sway in their preparation process. And then we have Paddy, who has this big loss, and then he balloons back up, and he's doing all this other stuff. Like, I just can't see somebody like that being champion, because there's something wrong with the preparation, with the focus, with the drive. In my opinion, like that's how I would think about it too. It's the same thing. Like if I'm pursuing something and I, let's say, get knocked back a peg or two, yeah, maybe I'd be depressed or something, I guess. But I wouldn't just be like, I'm gonna fall off the wagon and go crazy if I was serious about it, right? So that's how I'm looking at it. I mean, do you agree with me? Is this any sort of indication to you that like, yo, this guy's just not, he doesn't have that drive for it, obviously, because he's succumbing to addictions? Or you think, again, I'm making too much out of it?
No, man. I mean, it sounds like some of our past episodes we've talked about. I've talked about this, man. Again, he is a great athlete. He's going to have, intermediate success or mild success, but you can't, it's really hard. And I'm not saying it's impossible. Could he get lucky and be an anomaly? Of course. I mean, it happens all the time. There's a lot of guys that don't do everything right, but they still get, I mean, you look at Daniel Cormier, arguably one of the greatest ever. Like I've talked to you about this before, about how terrible his diet was. I was very fortunate. I got to train with one of his Olympic coaches at the from the Olympic Training Center, came out to Extreme Couture. And I'm asking about DC, just his preparation. He said he just was one of the strongest and most athletic, gifted people he'd ever met. He would come into practice with a McDonald's bag and eating shit food. And you see him at heavyweight, he has his gut hanging over his pants. He's literally pulling his pants up like girls do. And I hate, it's like my biggest turnoff when girls wear their pants above their belly button because they're trying to tuck something in there. I hate it. And he was doing that in his fight because he was ashamed of the way he looked. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. And DC did that in his fight. And I was like, bro, imagine if you take somebody like a superstar athlete, a superstar mind, a superstar, he can put everything together in real time. He can make the adjustments on the fly. But, I mean, think about if he had a great diet against DC and he came in there with bouldered shoulders and maybe not abs, but a flat stomach, not his gut hanging over. Maybe he would have been a little bit faster and more reactive and not got kicked in the head and lost.
Yeah, fair enough. And the thing is, though, the difference, I guess, at least granted DC was light heavyweight champ as well, but at least at heavyweight, maybe it wasn't as essential to be.
I mean, he missed weight. Here's the thing. I want to put an asterisk next to that light heavyweight championship, because had he legitimately missed weight, which he did, he put the hands on the towel, he would have been stripped of his belt. I think he gets stripped of his belt. Remember Charles Oliveira got stripped of his belt?
Yep, I do. Yeah.
Because he missed weight. And DC, yeah. I mean, he's great and everything, but everyone talks about John Jones, not passing the drug test, missing weight for in a championship match is, in my mind, just as important. You can't, failing the drug test is much worse than DC missing weight. I think it's equivalent. It's a rule, and you can't say one's less important than the other.
Yeah, we talked about this. It's an interesting double standard. Everybody seems to want to jump on the anti-John Jones bandwagon and just beat up on him constantly, but nobody really talks about the DC thing. And we were talking about it on Friday. Like, why is that? Is it because DC is so beloved? And we love DC. We think he's amazing in the commentary booth, phenomenal fighter, had some great fights against some incredible legends. But yeah, it's just kind of a bizarre thing. By the way, Western has a question for you. He says, what's the best thing to eat after a weight cut?
I think like salmon and rice.
Okay. And is that pretty much what you eat after the weight cut all the way up till the fight, like all day, like Friday, Saturday as well?
No, I mean, maybe I'll have some eggs, but honestly, like when I was in the UFC, yes, I was very diligent about, the things I did eat. But when I wasn't in the regional scene, like, I mean, until Martin really corrected me about that about, I don't know, 10 years ago, which sounds, I mean, I've been doing this for 25 years. So 15 years of my life, I didn't even realize, I didn't even put two and two together after, a weigh-in, like the shit food I was eating. I figured, it's pasta based. Chicken's good. Noodles are good. Alfredo is just shit like that. But yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, and not to mention when you're in the UFC, the PI supplies all your post weigh-in meals and all your post fight meals. And a lot of times you fight early, especially when you're on the early prelims. So it's not like you might have breakfast, maybe a light lunch. But for when I was fighting by 4 or 5 o'clock.
That's so cool that if you live in Vegas and you're in the UFC, you can basically just use the PI. Just something that Justin told me that I had no idea about. But if you're a Vegas fighter, if you're a Vegas-based fighter in the UFC, you can get all your meals for free at the PI. These are the little perks that people don't realize.
Actually, it just goes for just being in the UFC. You don't have to live in Vegas. But if you're in Vegas and you're in the UFC, so like if you were in Vegas or you're in LA, you're training in LA, but you came here, all you have to do is just go there and order your food for X amount of days you're there.
Sure. I guess what I meant to say is if you live in Vegas, you can fully take advantage of that on a regular basis. But yeah, right. That's right. Available to all you.
They were giving me out of camp. They give you 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's different.
That's great.
Fucking saves so much money, man. So I think the UFC gets a little bit of hate for their their lack in pay, which I do think their pay is going up. But the benefits of living in Vegas and stuff. I mean, I never even had to buy groceries or supplements.
Here's what I said. I made a video about fighter pay a week or two ago. And what I said was, I want to know your thoughts on this, Justin. Here's what I said. Sorry, we're going to go off on a little tangent before we hit the next topic. I hear people all the time. Let's talk about the journalists in particular. They will complain about the fighter pay ad nauseum. What I don't hear, and of course I hear fighters, and that makes a lot of sense too, right? You guys are in the game. You guys know probably more about the business than most. But now I'm talking about the journalists, not the fighters. What I don't hear ever from journalists when they complain, I'm talking about like Ariel Helwani and these guys, when they complain about fighter pay, is they just say it's not enough, but they never give the number. And that's what I'm curious to know. Like, has anybody, forget about let's stop just being negative all the time. Like, is there okay, here's the pay right now. This is where it should go based on these costs, this revenue stream, this deal, comparable organizations. Nobody's ever done the breakdown. It's just like they need to pay more. They need to pay more. They need to pay more. You know what I'm saying? You notice that as well? That's what I want to see. I want to see some concrete evidence and concrete back discussions of, instead of just being a negative Nancy, what should it go to? Because I'm not saying it's too low. I'm not saying it's too high. I don't know, because I don't feel like we have enough information. But it would be amazing if somebody who's on that complaining side could come forward and be like, all right, these are all the data points. This is what it should be. And this is why. That's what I'm waiting for. Anyways, do you agree with me?
I mean, I think the UFC is going in the right direction. They do have minimum standards now for baseline fighters. And I just saw all the pay from the last card. Like, these guys are making $500,000 now, $250,000, $800,000, and they're the best in the world. And honestly, if that's not enough money, if you can't live off that amount of money, dude, I was very, very happy and content with making 25 and 25. I could have went the rest of my life making 25. Had I been able to fight a couple times a year making, but with that being said, I'm very frugal. But yep. $50,000 for a fight, then you have a chance for a $50,000 bonus or $100,000 bonus. You make $150,000 a night. Yes. I mean, obviously I'm always going to push for more pay and advocate for more pay. But I mean, honestly, like I said, if they said, hey, you're only going to make 25 and 25 for the rest of your career, I would have been totally fine with that.
Yeah, I think the UFC is going hopefully in a positive direction on that, and we just want everybody to make more money. The UFC, the fighters, the UFC staff.
Not to mention, not only do you get free food every single day, 6 days a week, you get a sports psych that you can see once or twice a week. You get a strength coach that you get to train with 4 to 5 times a week. He puts together all your programs for your strength training. You get a massage therapist for an hour a day, every day. So, okay, let's say it's
That's
$100.
amazing.
That's $500 a week. I mean, if you go to a massage studio, minimum you're going to pay is $100, and that would be a cheap one. I mean,
Right.
I've seen people paying up to $250 for an hour. You get an athletic trainer with a whole slew. Heather Linden is your head athletic trainer there. You get free. You get electric therapy. You get cupping. You get massage. You get all this for free. You get free supplements. You get free after your workout. They have a smoothie bar. You go and they'll make you a smoothie on spot. Like it, dude. All the perks of just man. I love it. I look forward to waking up every day. Going there as soon as I get there, they have a coffee machine. As soon as you walk in there, you make your coffee, you head over to the weight area. Your trainer will have all your weights out, everything lined up. He goes, okay, he'll have a tablet and he'll say, all right, here's your workout. He'll guide you through the workout step by step. All right, put you through some conditioning. And then, all right, okay, now you go to get your massage after you're done, or you go get your deep tissue work or whatever you need. You're injured when you're injured. They provide all your recovery. You have a sauna you can go in. You have a pool you can go in. You have a cold bath. It's just, you have cryotherapy. You have everything right there on spot, and you can just line them up. So I would wake up at 9. My strength training was 9 to 10. I'd get a massage from 10 to 11 every single day, and then I'd go talk to my spikes, my sports psych from 11 to 12. Rest from 12 to 4, and then I go to Extreme Couture, do 3 hours of practice and any kind of more building I need to do, and that was my day. It was fucking awesome.
That's very cool. Well, maybe one day I'll get to see that. But yeah, it's awesome. And all that stuff is basically just given to you for free. That's incredible. Okay, we got a really fun story. I don't know if you saw this. You remember Charles Bennett? Crazy.
Not only do I know who Charles Bennett's training at Extreme Couture full time right now.
Wait, right now?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
Wait, so wait, did you see his fight, his bare knuckle fight?
Of course.
Okay, wait, I wasn't sure if you'd seen it. I was gonna pull up the clip. Wait, give us your thoughts. Like, what did you think of that fight and his fight style?
Dude, I mean, Charles Bennett's supposed to be one of the hardest hitting guys ever to grace the MMA cage. He's an old. I mean, he's
my age, 46.
I don't want to talk shit about him because he's actually a really nice guy. He's knocked out Wanderlei Silva in a backyard.
I know.
The guy's a legend. Ben, my son Ben, didn't know who he was when he walked by. And I'm like, hey, what's up, Charles? I'm like, dude, that's like one of the biggest celebrities in the gym right now. Like, this guy he's been fighting. He was fighting in the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010. Now he's fighting all the way to 2020. And I think he's like 1-16 or 2-16 in his last 18. But this guy's just, man, look up Charles Bennett highlights. And this guy he's complete entertainment from start to finish.
So I actually know a fair bit about him, and I'm going to tell you why in a moment. But basically, yeah, he's considered to be one like a super phenom athlete, but also, at least this is him back in the day in his younger days. I don't know if this is still true. As you mentioned, now he's training at Extreme Couture, but apparently he didn't really like training that much, but he just, his athletic prowess carried him in his fights, and he would have like amazing performances. He would do crazy backflips, jumping on the wall, all sorts of crazy stuff. Now, I know this about him, and I researched him, and I learned his whole story because, I don't know if I ever told you this, when I went to the Jake Paul fight back in Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz, that boxing match with Jesse on Fire. Remember that back in like, whatever, 3 years ago or something, 2-3 years ago? I sat right next to Charles Bennett, and he was literally like in the next seat, right next to me in the 6th row. We were like, had really good seats. Dude, I didn't know who he was, and bro, he annoyed me so badly. This guy, so I didn't know who he was. I thought he was like some like TikToker, a blogger or something like that, because he looked a little out there, and he was just screaming. Like, there were girls in the cage, in the ring, boxing, and he was just screaming. It's like, yo, she's got knobby knees. She's got knobby knees. Yo, this chick, like, he's just ripping on the fighter, but like right in my ear, screaming so loud. I'm like, who is this guy? And I was looking to my buddy Tim next to me, and my buddy Tim's also from Michigan. So I was like, dude, I'm about to tell this guy to shut the hell up, man. He's so annoying. And finally, Tim's like, here, just switch seats with me. So I switched seats with him, and then eventually he got in trouble with security. They almost kicked him out, and then ultimately they didn't. And then security let him stay. And then as security was walking away, he's like, hey, can you guys give me a hot dog and fries? I need some food. I'm hungry. Like, he started like taunting the security as they were walking away. They left him alone. Anyways, that was Jesse came back and he was like, you almost said that to that guy. You know who that guy is? And then I looked him up, and then I watched a documentary on him. Anyway, so then I kind of became a fan of his. even though he annoyed me like crazy in those seats. But yeah, I learned his whole story, and it's wild. But if you watch that bare knuckle fight, dude, you guys got to watch that. Charles, I mean, Crazy Horse, he's got, and there's also his other nickname is Felony. But if you watch his fight style, he's a madman. He's got his hands down. He's just eating shots. And then I don't understand it. Like, he just like lands one shot out of nowhere, and then boom, his power is just so great that he just dropped the guy a couple times, and the guy just stopped fighting. Like, what is it about Charles Bennett? What is it about his striking form, his ability like that? What do you think gives him that KO power?
No clue.
Some people have that, right? Just like our boy, that giant killer, Danny Trejo in Fusion. Yeah, it's so wild, man. Charles Bennett is a man. Have you sparred with him?
No. He doesn't go with the team. He does his own thing with David King Balea, MMA fighter, Hulk Hogan's nephew. They usually come in late, like 7 p.m. and do their own thing by themselves.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, so the Wanderlei Silva thing, Western is bringing that up as well. And that was, I think, there was another clip of Wanderlei Silva approaching him in a hotel lobby and being like, all right, you knocked me out. Let's go again. Because, Wanderlei Silva's a lot bigger than him. And, like, will obviously in most cases would smoke Charles Bennett. But he was trying to get him, and he's like, nah, man, I already knocked you out, dog. Too bad. And he gets in and Charles Bennett gets in the elevator, goes up and won't fight Wanderlei. But yeah, I remember that. I think there was another guy who actually knocked out Charles Bennett in like some altercation before some fight as well. Or maybe it was Wanderlei Silva's like teammate. I can't remember. But Western says, by the way, don't go in his live chat and call him Crazy Horse. I did that and he banned me. Oh, I didn't even know he had a live chat. Yeah, I won't be saying anything to him. That guy is a madman. John Dong is back in the house. What's up, John Dong? Yeah, but anyways, I thought it was cool. And I think bare knuckle is such a great home for Charles Bennett, especially because he seems completely fearless in that fight. So I'm really curious to see him return once again. I think he's a great asset and a great star for BKFC. Okay, Justin, did you have a chance? Oh, by the way, John Dong is talking about Mario Bautista. That's our next topic. Can't wait till we see Mario Bautista versus Peyton Talbot sometime. Yeah, it would be sick, but is that who I want next for Peyton Talbot? I don't know.
That's a tall task, man. That's a tall task.
Well, let's talk about Mario Bautista. I'm just thinking about it more from like the excitement. It's a good fight. It's an interesting fight, but I feel like there's more interesting fights for Peyton Talbot. But anyways, let's get to Mario Bautista. So I don't know if you saw this fight in its entirety or saw the finishing sequence, but I was pretty impressed with Mario Bautista. I do believe that Oliveira has since come out and had said he had like a fractured arm or something. We're going to get into that, and I know you're not a fan of the excuses by any means, but I do want to share it and get your reaction and get your thoughts. But let's first talk about Mario Bautista. I thought he was looking sharp. They had some grappling positions and exchanges on the cage. I saw Mario Bautista threw some amazing body kicks as well throughout the fight. But really what I was most impressed by was the finishing sequence. If I remember correctly, we saw him go transition within like 20 seconds from a crucifix to then a ground and pound position where he's slamming the head, and then he nearly gets a Kimura, and then he almost like I think he tries to get like an armbar, and then he slips, and then he seamlessly like goes to the back and gets a rear naked choke, like all within like 20 or 30 seconds. So I was very impressed with Mario Bautista's grappling and his ability to change position so effectively. But I wanted to turn it over to you. Obviously, wrestling is your jam, grappling, positions on the ground. You know that better than anybody. What's your takeaway? How good is Mario Bautista?
Oh man, if you guys remember, I made a video about him probably last year. He was on an 8-fight win streak before he went up against Umar. He loses a decision. Now he's already back in the driver's seat. So out of his last 10 fights, he's 9-1, and he lost to a could-be future champion. Like, I think this guy's legit. His grappling's legit. He wins his last fight by submission, I believe, in the 3rd or 4th round.
Second round.
Second round, like at the end of the second round, I believe it was. I mean, it's crazy, man. I'm really excited to see what this guy does. I'd love to see him matched up with Merab. I mean, because such a heavy, submission base with Merab is going to try to wrestle him. It's not going to be a striking fight, but that matchup is very interesting to me as well.
Yeah, Mario Bautista's on a tear. I thought he did a great job. Now, I do want to get your take on this. Like I said, I know this isn't always your favorite topic to hear guys kind of give these excuses after the fact, but this is what Vinicius Oliveira said, who lost to Mario Bautista. He said he fought through a fractured arm along with a rotator cuff and meniscus injuries during UFC Fight Night loss to Mario Bautista. The Brazilian fighter admitted to a reckless decision to compete with a 51-day-old arm injury, which severely hampered his performance and led to a second-round submission. So he said he broke his arm during training camp, and then he had a rotator cuff and meniscus injury, etc. So what's your takeaway from Vinicius Oliveira and his statements here?
I couldn't care less. I literally couldn't care about anything less. Next subject. Dude, everybody that loses says this. Like, the brother, I have a broken arm, bro. You have a broken arm. Like, what? Get the fuck out of here, man. I have a broken arm, a torn shoulder. Like, what? How did you even walk in? How did you even throw a punch? Like, get the fuck out of here, man.
So you're almost like calling BS a little bit.
Calling BS. I'm just so sick of every time somebody loses. It's like, oh, well, I would have won. Like, we've heard it that the best guys in the division, the champs, do it when they lose. Fuck it. It's like, dude, you just lost. You got your ass whipped. Like, get out of here. Like, I've never even heard of this guy. Mario Bautista, the UFC, this was a setup fight for Mario Bautista to win. Like, they like Mario Bautista. He's exciting. He was on an 8-fight win streak, lose to Umar. All right, let's get this guy back in a win column. Like, that's one thing I'm really proud of is anytime I lost, I never blamed it on anything. I didn't blame it on a bad camp. I never blamed it on it was short notice. It's just like, it is what it is. You're put in a circumstance. And why are you fighting with a broken arm? You're fighting against Mario Bautista, who's 8-1 of his last 9. And you're like, oh, this is going to be a good matchup for me when I'm being set up to lose anyways. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Fair enough. And by the way, just to let you know, Vinicius Oliveira, he's just out of the top 10. He'll probably drop down a little bit more, but he's ranked number 11th, right above Peyton Talbot. So that's where he's currently ranked, and we'll see where he goes. Interestingly enough, as I'm looking at the rankings as well, Peyton Talbot is ranked number 12th. Who knows? Maybe Mario Bautista. I don't know. What do you think about this? What do you think about Peyton Talbot versus Davison Figueiredo next?
I mean, Davidson's not as good as he used to be. I believe he missed late weight in his last fight. I mean, It's a good matchup for Peyton to get in there and get a win against a good name.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it more from the Peyton Talbot fan side. I think that'd be a cool matchup. But we'll see who they match up Peyton Talbot with next. All right, now we move. Oh, we got a couple comments here. By the way, John Dong says, "Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do it next, but I want to see it eventually." He's talking about Mario Bautista versus Peyton Talbot, and Western agrees with you. He says that guy's dumb and he shouldn't have fought. So I guess there it is. And let's move on to. Your boy, your teammate is fighting against Fluffy Hernandez this weekend. That's really like the big main event. I looked through the card already. There's some other interesting fights, but nothing that jumps off the page other than this main event. But this main event is pretty sick because the winner of this, depending on how the fight goes, is going to be right in there for a championship shot, I believe, against Khamzat Chimaev. So I know you've talked a little bit about this fight already, but give us your thoughts. Give us your initial breakdown. I'm sure you're going to do a breakdown video later in the week, but give us your initial thoughts on this matchup.
Hard to get away from Sean Strickland, man. He's in there every single day. Saw him this morning. I'll see him tonight. Like, I can never ever think Sean's going to lose because Sean is the guy that does everything right in preparation. Like, regardless if you like his style, regardless if you like his political views, when you watch this guy train, he really loves training, and he says it all the time. It keeps him mentally sane, and he's getting in wars all the time. I mean, just look it up. Go to YouTube. Go to fucking anything. Like, this guy is, I mean, he's doing, when you talk about someone like Sean Strickland and then Paddy Pimblett, like, Sean Strickland doesn't leave a lot of breadcrumbs. And it's hard to ever think he's going to lose a fight with how hard he trains.
That's exactly what I was going to actually compare and contrast with next, like in terms of the diet, because I know we hear Sean's in the gym training like a madman. Do you have any insights like on the diet side? Is he a madman with his diet and nutrition as well?
Yeah, I can't verify that or not, but I don't think he drinks. I don't think he smokes. So there's at least those. I know those seem kind of small, but I mean, essentially, if you don't do those things, you know, I think I've heard him joke about if he would be a bad drunk because he'd kill somebody. And I don't know if he smokes weed or not, but regardless, I mean, he does a lot of right things in his preparation.
So Tehran actually says he's got Strickland in this fight. Western says Strickland going to rock Fluffy's whole she. And yeah, Justin, we'd love if you could actually do a stylistic breakdown at some point this week. That'd be super cool. I'd be really interested to see your thoughts. Fight Saturday. Yeah. Wait, let me double check. I looked it up earlier this morning. I know it's the next event, but let me just make sure it is Saturday. Hold on. The next event, UFC Fight Night. Yeah, Saturday. Nope, sorry. Not this weekend, next weekend. So it's the next UFC event, but it's February 21st. So there's an off week this week. So no fights on Saturday. But yeah, there we go. So we're going to have that breakdown. That's going to be really, really cool. I like Fluffy, by the way. I don't know if I told you, but I listened to an entire interview of him, and the guy's like, he's just like a cool guy. And he's talking about how he doesn't have any friend, like he doesn't care. He'll fight anybody in the division. There's nobody that he's friends with in middleweight that he doesn't want to fight. He's like, nah, man, just bring him on. I'll do it. Like, I don't know. He just has that very warrior mentality, warrior spirit. So I am really, really curious for this fight, both to see Strickland and Fluffy. Okay. Now we get to our last topic for today's show. Not a crazy amount of stuff in the news that happened over the weekend, but I did hear a couple Justin Gaethje interviews. You know, Justin actually did an interview with Stephen A. Smith that was really cool. I'm going to do a video of some sort about it at some point this week because there was a lot of cool nuggets in that interview. But the main thing that Justin's been saying a lot is, yo, we're headlining the White House. We're fighting on the White House and or headlining the White House. He's saying it over and over. Obviously, Ilia Topuria came out. We talked about this on Friday, and he said, yep, he's coming back. His divorce is finalized. He's off the hook for whatever payments he has to pay, I guess. So this thing is going down. They're going to sign this. Justin, at this current moment, with all the speculation, everything we've talked about, let's not even talking about what's likely because there's so many unknowns right now. But in your ideal world, if you could craft the White House card the way you wanted to, would Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje be the fight and the only fight that you could think of to headline the White House card?
I mean, it's definitely up there. It might be, if I sat down and thought about it for a couple minutes, I might want to see. I mean, I'd really like if, I know they want to bring back Conor McGregor. I'd love to see him fight Nate Diaz, but I mean, I think I'd be more excited about this. I think Justin Gaethje, he's putting on 15 performance bonuses every fight he's been in the UFC. I think 16 with his last. I think he's more than earned a spot to headline the UFC White House card, and I'd be totally fine with this fight.
The thing is, if you think about it, and I know everybody seems to disagree with me about Conor being the co-main. Co-main makes perfect sense, and I'll tell you why. Conor will do it because he'll want the exposure. Secondly, Conor's been out for a long time. Yeah, he's looking pretty good in training footage and stuff like that, but as you mentioned, that doesn't tell us much, and so there's still a chance that he could go out there and flop. Do you want to end the White House card on such a wild card? Like, it doesn't make sense, but instead, if you have co-main, you still get all the buzz, all the press conference goodies. And then if it doesn't go to plan, you have your insurance, your safety net. Gaethje versus, dude, is Gaethje versus Ilia? What's the chance that it sucks? Like, literally, like, give me a percentage chance that's bad.
I can't. Zero. Like,
it's gotta be zero.
Like, yeah. Justin, again, let me reiterate: 16 fights in the UFC, 16 performance bonuses. Now he's put on the biggest platform. You don't think this guy's going to come out reckless as fuck and get knocked out or knock Ilia Topuria out? You're fucking high.
The style matchup is so good because the only other way I see it going, other than a flash KO at some point, is I see a submission, actually like a fun submission from Ilia, where he somehow gets a good position on Gaethje, brings him down, like chokes him. Like, that would also be really cool as well. But chances are we're going to see somebody get KO'd. It could go either way. I know most people are picking Ilia, but to me, this is starting to make a lot of sense, with the exception of John Jones, right? If John Jones still comes back somehow, which I'm still feeling like is a possibility for all the aforementioned reasons I said before, it's a U.S. card, it's the White House, Donald Trump likes him, he's the greatest fighter of all these reasons, right? If John Jones comes back, then all bets are off, okay? I think that's going to headline the UFC White House card. But if he doesn't, I think it's going to be Gaethje versus Ilia, or at least that's what I would do if I was in charge.
That's way better fight than John Jones. Just like you mentioned with Conor, we don't know if he's going to flop. We can say the same thing about John Jones. It could be a terrible fight. He's not John Jones is great, and he has, spinning elbows and great spinning attacks, but is he the most violent man in the history of the UFC? Justin Gaethje is 100%. John Jones is probably 70%, 65%, but it's not 100%, and I'd be fine taking Conor off the card, putting John Jones as the co-main for the same reason that you gave for Conor. I never thought about that before, but I'd actually rather have that as him as a co-main. Justin Gaethje's earned it. John Jones hasn't fought in fucking 25 years.
Yeah, he's earned it, but on top of that too, it makes sense.
And who's he going to fight? Alex Pereira.
Yeah,
only guy that makes sense. And Alex would be a huge underdog against a very bigger opponent. Like, I don't want to see Pereira lose. No, but I also don't want to see an American lose on the White House card.
Fair enough. Well, Gaethje versus Ilia, like I said, I think that's money. Tehran also is mentioning the Stephen A. Smith interview. Yeah, I did watch this. He said, do you guys see the Justin Gaethje, Stephen A. Smith interview? Stephen pissed me off trying to clown Justin for not having a girlfriend. Like, why is a man? Okay, Yo, I can speak about this from experience. I agree. I think it's super lame in general when people like get so wrapped up in like, hey, you should be dating somebody or you shouldn't be dating or whatever, right? Unless it's like a super close friend or family member that really, really knows you and you know what I mean? I didn't take it though. I agree with you. Like, I agree that I don't get that. Like, hey, trying to nudge somebody. Like Justin's living his life, and he explained why he doesn't have a girlfriend. It's too stressful. He said there's too many emotions. He's got to stay locked in, dialed in, all that stuff, which I completely understand. I mean, I feel the same way in a lot of respects. So I understand exactly where Gaethje's coming from. But I didn't feel like he was exactly clowning him. I thought it was like playful teasing. He was saying his mom was pushing him as well. So to me, I didn't it didn't bother me that much. I just was like, why is he talking about this so much? Like, let it go and move on. You got to see this, by the way. It's a good interview. You'll really enjoy it. Justin Gaethje being your favorite, of course. And yeah, Tehran, the girlfriend. So by the way, did you ever see Justin's ex-girlfriend?
I never seen her. No.
Okay, so she was at the the Fiziev fight, I think, and I think now he's broken up with her. But yo, she was pretty hot, as you would expect, I guess, with Justin Gaethje. But anyways, I guess it wasn't meant to be. So he's back solo. I think he talked about having a dog. Like, I can relate to that. I got my little dog right here too. I'm back single too. So hey, Justin Gaethje, you're a legend.
Me too.
I'm with you. Yeah, all three of us. Let's go. All right. Well, these are the topics we had today. It's a little bit of a briefer show today, but I hope you guys enjoyed these topical discussions. Like I said, me and Justin are going to be back at it March 7th, Fusion Fight League. We're going to be commentating. That's going to be really, really fun. And we're going to be doing some, as per usual, tons of videos all week. So make sure to tune in. If you guys are new to the channel or subscribing and a new subscriber, we got video drops every day. That's all we got. Oh, Justin, last but not least, before we close out, tell us about Saturday.
Yeah, man, we went in there, handled business, won the region with ease. 1 point, I think, like a halfway or three-quarter way through the tournament, we were ahead by like 70 points.
Wow.
It was almost put them out of no chance to come back. They did come back a little bit. Our heavier weights didn't perform incredibly. They won matches, but I think we had like 6 champs in a row. It was like 106 was a champ, 113 was a champ, 120 was a champ, 126 took second, 132 was a champ, 138 was a champ, 144 took third, 150 didn't. 150 got a concussion, injury, defaulted out. 157 took second, 165 injury, defaulted out. 75 took fourth, Ben took fifth, 215 took third, and heavyweight lost. So we did really well. I think we had like 6 champions.
That's great. And then what do you anticipate for states? Do you think states is going to be harder, same level?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot tougher. There's 2 really tough teams that are on the other there. So you go by region. So there's like 30 teams in the state for 4A, and then you split them 15 and 15, and then you take the top I think the top 15, or you cut it in half. You cut half of them out. You take the top 15. You do another tournament. So it's going to be tough, but I'm looking forward to it, and we have the potential to win. But we got to get a little lucky too.
What day is states?
It'll be on it's the 21st or 22nd, whatever Saturday that is.
Yeah, that's the 21st. That's the night that Sean Strickland's fighting Fluffy. All right, guys. Well, that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining. By the way, Tehran says, I'm single too. Let's go. John Dong gives this little emoji. And Tehran's letting us know March 7th is 326. Yeah, well, we'll probably just be catching the tail end of that, unfortunately. Actually, no, we'll probably miss it because now the UFC pushed up the start time. So it is what it is, but we'll watch it on replay, I guess. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.